Okay, so yesterday didn't go so hot. We fixed a thing we were trying to fix, but we realized the problem was a lot greater than we had anticipated. But if we take a look at this, where let's get like a 13 stack or something here. There's a 12 stack. Okay, 13 stack. So the thing we were trying to implement yesterday was if we're surrounded in a grid like this, we're surrounded by standing stone, standing stone, standing stone, yet there's one available space to move. This is wrong already. We need to illustrate that if we have more than one stone in our stack, yet the only legal move would be on top of a stack that would be more than 14. Right here, so here we go. So let's move. We'll get okay, so we'll surround ourselves with standing stones. So if this is the square we want to move, we're surrounded by standing stones. So the only legal move would be up here on this 13 stack. But if we were to drop any more than one occupant on that 13 stack, our game crashes because we can't handle that many stones. So what we did yesterday was, if it was our move and we pick up a stone and there is a actually we ask how many is the highest amount of stones around us at any orthogonal space, and then we limit the amount of stones we pick up to be to make sure that we can't dump more than 14 on the stack. So what that looks like is when we click this, we actually pick up the only one stone that we would be able to place in our only legal move here. So it prevents the player from picking up more than the illegal limit of stones, which that's the desired effect for when we're surrounded by capstones and whatnot. But the thing is, we're actually doing that same thing regardless of legal move status. So like, if we take a look, there's 13 occupants here. Now, if it's our turn and we're gonna move, for example, a 4 stack or something, take a look at this now. So look, we have empty spaces here. So we would be able to move into any of these spaces with all of our stones. Yet, when we pick it up, it limits how much we pick up by. We were only able to pick up one because the highest amount of occupants is 13 in this grid. So we need to be able to pick up more stones if we have this opportunity here, because it would be a totally legal move to move all 4 of our stones into any one of these 3 spaces, yet the thing we implemented yesterday broke that. So we need to rethink how we're doing it just a bit. Because this should be totally legal. So it's like we only need to limit our stones if everything is a capstone except for one space. So it's like, I don't even know where we have to go to check that out. Now, where is the line that we were actually doing this behavior? Right here. So if we press on the grid, This is it. Highest surrounding occupants. So we don't want to do this just based on a mouse press. We want to do this if yeah, it's such a hard problem. Such a hard problem for me to figure out. Because we can't just say, hey, if we're surrounded by 3 standing stones, yet there is a legal move, how we even go about it, dude? I don't know how we even go about it. We need to... What we're trying to do is to only do this highest stone surrounding occupants and changing the stones to copy only if... God damn it. Yeah, it's so hard. We only want to do this if there's no other legal moves. If for example if the only place we could move is the fact that I'm exhausted doesn't help either. I don't know what to do, dude. I don't fucking know. I feel like the first step I feel like we might be able to get around some of this if we can't lock in stones. Fuck, I don't know. It's so hard to think about. So right now we're trying to... Okay, hear me out. I'm just gonna spew out some words. So what if clicking the stack still takes all the stones out? So we don't do this highest stone occupants to decide how many stones to copy. We just copy all of our stones, as much up to 5 stones out. Because we could be able to move the stone onto a position that isn't our highest stone occupants. So we want to be able to pick up all those stones. And we don't want to mess around with that extra movement event that I kind of mentioned yesterday. I don't want to do that. I don't think we have to do that. So let's say we pick up all the stones we can automatically still. And then by the time we lock in how many stones we have, at that point, we check our surrounding grids for the highest occupant. And it wouldn't necessarily be the highest occupant. Well, I guess that makes sense, because it's like, well, no, it doesn't make sense, because there could be highest occupant of 13 and a highest occupant of 12, which we'd want to lock in a different amount of legal move status depending on how many stones are in our hand by the time we lock in that movement event. Jesus. So I think if by the time we lock in how many stones are in our hand, we need to go through and say if the amount of mouse stones in our hand plus the orthogonal occupants, if those two values combined are higher than 14, it is not a legal move, because you locked in too many stones to be placed in that spot. Now that still means we can't just dump one stone and move over it without overflowing the occupant level on our grid, but we could figure out how to add that later if we really want to, and if it's actually necessary. or realistic to add that. Well, we can figure that out. So I think the move is to revert this back to what it was, which is pick up all of our stuff. But by the time we lock it in, so like for example, the one we were fixing when we were surrounded. Let's go do that again. Let's make a 13 stack. Okay. So a 13 stack. And we're surrounded by capstones or standing stones, and it's our turn. But yeah, we want more. We want more stones here, so this is messed up. Let me do that again. So, if we're surrounded here, we need it so that this is a 5 stack. So if we actually pick this up, instead of only picking up the available one to move on here, which is the right move in this current scenario, we actually want to pick up all of our stones. And then if we hit enter to lock in that stones, since the only available move, that's shoot, yeah, then we're still problem. Because we have to detect whether or not a move would have to be legal. Because if we lock in, we'd have to prevent us from locking in 5 stones if we would overhaul the occupant limit here. But if we're not surrounded, we need to be able to lock in that 5 stones and just make it illegal to move in this space because you have locked in 5 stones. So in a scenario like this, where before we picked this up, pretend we didn't pick this up yet, this would be a legal move because you could technically pick up only 1 stone, lock in only 1 stone, and then dump only 1 stone on a 13 stack, which would be your only legal move. But we want to allow that. So I guess we just need something in our movement event 2 logic that says we'd want something in our movement event 2 logic that says something like, if the only legal move we have I don't know how we would do that, because we'd have to do it for a corner case, edge case, and middle case, where we because right now how we're deciding to only pick up 1 stone is the highest occupant stack function that we did, but we only want to use that if that's our only legal move, which is hard to check. So maybe we can do what we're currently doing to lock in our so like once we lock this in, you know, we already have a legal move highlight based on whether or not it's a legal move. So if we can just ask if all the surrounding spots, if there's only 1 legal move, there's only one legal move, then we know, and I believe we should be able to have these legal move status in our movement event 2. Actually, I don't think that's right. I think in a movement event 3 is when we kind of assign that. Yeah. We only assign our legal moves once we lock in our movement origin column, but it's actually only when we lock in our once we hit enter, isn't it? Oh my god. No. It's once we click on a stone. God damn it, it's so complicated. Okay. I'm gonna break this down into smaller parts. Right now, God, I don't even know where to start. I was gonna say we need to prevent so need to do something like okay, I know. Okay, first step is to fix what we did yesterday and remove the fact that if one of our occupants, or it's actually preventing us from picking up more stones than the highest occupants would equal to become 14 stones. So we need to fix that so that we pick up all the stones again. So first, let's do that. I'm gonna take a peek at our code from our last commit so we can actually see the old code for that. So we're looking in our play state. Right here. We do it here in our movement event 2, is it? Movement event 1, really? Find our movement event 1. Okay. Movement event 1. No, hold on. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, it's not here. It's right here. It's in our left mouse press function after our movement event 1 legal moves populated. So it's right here. So this was our old code for it. This is what we need to replace. I'm gonna keep the old busted stuff just for reference for now, temporarily. But then I'm gonna put in how we used to have it. That's why I love Git so much. Okay. So if the occupant we click on has more than 5, we're only copying 5 stones. Otherwise, less than 5, we only copy how many occupants it has. So now we should be able to, now we fixed one of our bugs but broke the other, and that is We've got a 13 stack. We got a 13 stack, and then we go to pick up this with the highest occupant of would be over 14 if we were to dump all of our stones. So for right now, when we hit enter, that's a legal move when it shouldn't be, because we shouldn't be able to dump 3 stones on that grid, which we would be forced to. So that's what we need to do next. So now that we're picking up the stones, we need to wait until we actually pick up the amount of stones. Once we lock in the amount of stones in our hand, which is in a movement event 2 somewhere, I'm thinking probably when we hit enter. So we lock in the amount of stones in our hand. Then we would go through and say, hey, if it's a legal move, let's just check if the amount of occupants plus all of our mouse stones would be more than 14, and if so, it's no longer a legal move, because we can't move there with 3 stones, but we could move there with 1 stone. So let's see if we could do that. Where do we lock in the amount of stones in our hand? Is it in a movement event 2? Yeah, so stones in mouse occupants, that's right here in movement event 2. So once we lock that in, before we go to a movement event 3, we need to do something else in our movement event 2 here. And what we need to do is to cycle through, we could cycle through, now we could, since we know our movement origin, we could say, we'd have to do corner case, edge case, and middle case, and say if surrounding grid is a legal move, then check its occupants, compare it to our mouse stone, and if those 2 values plus together is more than 14, then it's a no longer legal move. But I don't want to check those corner cases. So what we could do instead is to do a nested for loop where we cycle through all the grids, and we just say if we are a legal move at this point. Actually, we don't do that till here, so we'd have to do it in our movement event 3, because we don't set our legal moves until we go through here. Now I'm thinking after all those cases, we do this falsifying legal moves, which we do in a nested for loop, which is exactly what we're trying to do. But we're not trying to see, we're not flushing it if it's a capstone or a standing stone. We're trying to flush it if mouse stone occupants plus the grid at that location occupants. If that is greater than 14, then we need to falsify that grid. So we say legal move here gets false. So not only is it a false if there's a capstone or standing stone in any given grid, but if our mouse stone occupants, once we lock in how many stones we picked up, plus our grid's occupants, if those things equal more than 14, then we're a legal move there. So let's see if that worked. So let's get us 13 stones here. Now we've got 13 stones. Now let's get a little stack going over here. So what should happen when we pick this up is we should pick up all 3 now. And then if we were to dump 2 of them and then lock that in, this square up here should be a legal move because it wouldn't be over 14. But I'm going to see if we pick up 2 stones, if it would falsify this correctly. So I just locked in 2 stones, legal move, legal move, legal move, and this is not a legal move, which is correct. Now let's redo this and try to do it with the 1 stone and see if that worked. Okay, so there's a 13 stack right here. So if we lock in only 1 stone, we already locked it in on accident. Let me just that was my bad. I totally jacked that up. Okay. So if we were to lock in only 1 stone, we should be able to move here because we wouldn't be over 14. So if we lock in 1 stone, it is a legal move stone. Okay. So the other thing we need to do is fix the amount of stones we can lock in depending on our only legal move. So that's going to be trickier. So let's say we're surrounded here. Oh, before I do that, we need some more stones. Okay, now we're surrounded. So our only legal move would be here, and our only legal move would be only if we lock in 1 stone. So if right now, if we press enter with 3 stones in our hand, we go to a move in event 3, yet we actually have no legal moves, so we're stuck. We cannot drop our stones. We cannot pick up any stones. We're just stuck and really stuck. So we need to fix that. Because our legal move falsifying was working here. But we need to do something where we do not allow us to lock in our movement event 3 if we have no legal moves, but we don't check our legal moves until movement event 3. So this is a little backwards. Now we might be able to just move all of our legal move logic because our movement origin is locked in before. Actually, yeah, we lock it in right here if we click on it. So as long as we do this, we can get rid of this for now. As long as I'm thinking we can just move all of our legal move trues into our movement event 2, and then we can be able to check upon enter being pressed. If we have no legal moves and enter is pressed, don't lock it in, don't do a movement event 3, because we have to be a legal move. So maybe that'll work. I'm gonna move all this legal move true. Park. Move this. Okay. Move this. Now, do we do it after we copy the stones? Sure, I guess. I guess we don't need to falsify the legal moves here. This is saying falsify all legal moves once movement origin's locked. And now, no, we needed this because we weren't. I think we leave this. I think we leave this. But we place our legal move trues here. So the falsify will falsify any old. We're just basically giving us a clean slate so that we can only populate the legal moves with the appropriate legal moves. But we're actually not falsifying these, which we need to. And so we'll take that from our movement event 3 here, which is here. Because we need to be able to do that. Where is this end from? I don't know where that end is from. If it crashes, it crashes. This could jack up everything. I don't know. How do we end up with 2 extra ends? What is this end for? What is that end even for? Does it run without that end? Bro, I don't know why we need that end. We're not closing anything with that, dude. This is indented one too many times. So we don't need this end. Give me a break, dude. What are you doing? Why would we need this end, dude? I feel like I'm losing my mind. Why do we need this end, man? It's because right here we're missing an end. This is wrong, man. Look at, we copied this wrong. Oh. I'm going to take all of these, take them out of movement event 3. Put them in movement event 1. Now, we don't even actually have any milestone occupants yet because we haven't locked it in. So we we don't want these legal moves setting true while we're locking in stones because okay, so I think I want to move the falsifying. No, I think I want to move the legal move highlights into our move event 3 because we're not trying to render any legal moves when we're dropping in our stones regardless of legal move status. So let's take right now I'm going to comment this out. And this one as well, because this is only set once we know how many mouse stones we're trying to move. So sure, we can falsify the legal move. See, but at this point we might as well just move the whole falsifying. We'll just move the whole falsifying to our movement event 3. Or at least right before we switch to 3. So, right before we switch to 3, we're gonna falsify any moves that should be legal now with the legal move false. Now we wait till we do this until movement event 2 because we don't have any milestone occupants we lock in. And then once we have the updated legal move status, then we're asking, and actually this needs to be in movement event 3, the actual rendering of it. So we can set it false here, but we need the actual rendering of it in movement 3. So sure, we falsify it here. And then we actually render it right here. And we need to do a nested for loop. Okay, so at this point, nothing should have changed other than the fact that we have our legal moves either true or false going into movement 3. I hope that's all that changed. So now what? I lost my train of thought. What was I trying to do? So we set our legal move. Oh, we're trying to prevent, yeah. So before we lock in the amount of stones we have to check if the only legal move, because we're trying to, how do we do this? It's safe to say that there's at least one legal move locked in at this point, right? No. Let me see if it's possible to lock in a stone completely surrounded. It is not. So yeah, we cannot. So I think it's safe to say that there's a legal move locked in at this point. So we need to ask. Okay, 13 stones in the stack there. Now, what we're trying to do is, if we lock in this many stones, this will be false. This will be true, this will be true, this will be true. But what we're trying to do is prevent us. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to prevent us from locking in a certain amount of stones if the only legal move would be an illegal placement. So there's 13 here. Now we need a couple of stones. Okay, now we need to be surrounded by illegal moves. Okay, so this is what we're trying to do. There's a 13 stack right here that can only handle one stone on top of it. So what we're trying to do is, if we lock in we're trying to make it illegal to lock in 4 stones, which right now, so basically in our movement event, I should have looked at what movement event we were in before I did that. Okay, we're in a movement event 0. We're in a movement event 1 right now. Yet when I click on this, we're a movement event 2. Now, is there anything stopping us from locking in a pickup move if the only, so it should, imagine there was 14 occupants here and we were surrounded. Let me see if that's the case first. Let me check. 12. 13, 14, the most amount of stack, and then okay, if we're surrounded, this should not be a legal move, and it isn't. So that's good. So that's good. But what we do need to do, it's so complicated. Stack. Let's give us okay. So here, we're able to pick up 4, but here in our movement event 2, let me write this down. So in a movement event 2, we need to prevent in a movement event 2, by the time we press enter, we need to check. We need to lock in the amount of stones we can move. Now, we could do this with the highest surrounding occupant. But that would still make it illegal. Hold on. I can't think of it. Because right now, if we pick up more than 1 stone, that would be an illegal move. So upon pressing enter, we need to not shift to movement event 3, which we just did. So we need to prevent that. So under our enter press, now we've got a function that says that gets the highest occupant, so that we could be able to say, run that function, and if enter is pressed, don't do anything. If the number of stones plus our highest milestone occupant would be greater than 14, don't do anything upon the enter press. But that doesn't quite fix our problem, because if we weren't stuck with a capstone here, but instead there was a 12 stack over here, we should be able to pick up 2 stones, which if we go by our highest stone occupant logic, we would force us to only pick up 1, so that still doesn't fix our problem. So we need to do something like how do we only lock in the amount of occupants from our highest stack order if we're surrounded, is the question. So at this point, we have not a legal move here in a movement event 3. I thought we had fixed that. I thought we set legal moves here. It's because we already locked it in. If we didn't lock it in, let's try that again. Let's see if we didn't lock it in, if that grid would be a legal move true. Stack. We need a couple here. So we're trapped. It's our turn. See how it says it's a legal move? True. That's good. Actually, it says they're all legal move trues because we haven't falsified it yet. I feel like we need to falsify it in our movement event 2 still. We don't falsify it till 3 here. I feel like we need to do this. I feel like we need to falsify it already. We need to do we want the right amount of legal moves going into movement event, in our movement event 2, but we don't want to, we don't know all the extent of our legal moves until we actually lock in our mouse stones, which goes down here, but I want to see our legal moves being false in our movement event 2, because we need to do something. Stack. Let's give us a couple of stones. Okay. So if we pick up our stones here, this is not a legal move, not a legal move, not a legal move, yet this one would be a legal move. Now, this needs to become false once we lock in the stones. So if we were to lock in only one, it would be true. Let's see if we lock in more than one. We can't place it because it became a legal move false, but let's see if we... God. This is kind of absurd. Okay. Okay. I want to see if we can lock in only one, because only one can fit. If we lock in one, it would be a legal move. So that's looking to be right. It's just that now that we have the legal moves set, we need to cycle through in our movement event 2. By the time we press enter, if we don't have any legal moves, it doesn't get set until our mouse stones. So we would need to here, upon pressing enter, we don't want to just do this willy-nilly, because right now, as soon as we press enter, we lock in our movement event, which isn't the case. We want to, if there's no legal moves, if there was no legal moves by the time we lock in our mouse stones, So if we press enter, then we're going to falsify a legal move if we have a milestone occupants that would go over 14. Then we need to check if there is no legal moves. So if all of them are legal move false. So how would we check that? Do we do a while? I guess, or you know what? I would, so we falsify it, then we can say, hey, if that grid has any legal moves true, if any grid is true, then we would go ahead and update our movement event and lock in and update our stack control and whatnot. But if we're surrounded now, and by the time we press enter in movement event 2, our milestone occupants plus the grid occupant would be higher than 14, that becomes legal move false, and that would mean every single legal move is false. But actually, this is only true depending on the cycling of the rows, because it's a nested for loop. So I think we need to do something twice. Like we need to. Oh my god. Because if, for example, the legal move that would be false is on the bottom row, after it would be in this nested for loop, this would actually move us to movement event 3 when it shouldn't. We press enter. Yeah, we're trying to prevent enter from doing anything if there's no legal moves. How do we do that? And whether or not there's legal moves depends on how many milestone occupants would be locked in. So let's just lock in the amount of stones first, or we would be doing God damn it. I'm trying to prevent cycling through all these grids every single frame for performance sake, but I don't think it really matters. So if we were to do it outside of this enter press, we would falsify any grid whose mouse stone occupants. Yeah, let's try that. If we move this outside. Oh, before I do this, I have something in the clipboard. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead and say in moved event 2, we're cycling through every single grid, every single frame. And we are setting the legal move status of any given grid to be false if our mouse stone occupants plus the occupants currently in that grid would be more than 14. Then at that point, if enter is pressed, we need to see if any value, if basically if every value is false, if there's no legal move true. Here. So we need to do another nested for loop here. For I gets 1, 5. Now, basically, if there is a legal move anywhere, then we're going to go ahead and move our movement event 3. But if there's no legal move, then we're still in movement event 2. Then the game is waiting for us to have a mouse occupants that does not go over a 14 occupants by the time enter is pressed. So that might work. Equality, not assignment. Okay, so let's give this a shot. I really should change the tester stacks to reflect what we're trying to test, because I keep having to place all these manually, which gets a little tedious. But okay, so look, no legal moves around us. We would only be able to move a mouse stone of 1 into this grid. So if we pick this up, if we hover over this, it'll see that this is a legal move false, hopefully unless we have 1 mouse stone. But it's not doing that. It's not doing that. And then we're stuck. It's actually, no, we're not stuck. It's just that, yeah, why is this? See, we need to ask if it's a legal move true first. So if it is a legal move true, then if our mouse stone occupants, does that do anything different for us? No, it doesn't. It's just that this is never becoming true again. This is never becoming true again. Fuck, dude. I feel like I'm so close. This is never... Yeah, since we pick up 5, this becomes false right away and never becomes true again. So, like, unless we do this again, all this crap... God damn it. How do we do this? So if we don't do this, God damn it, dude, I'm so confused. Yeah, we need to re-truthify this if the milestone occupants is legal. But the thing is, we don't know how to re-truthify it once it's falsified, because any grid could be re-truthified at that point, even though it wasn't trued in the first place. So that's why it's so confusing. So yeah, we're trying to update our legal move. Actually, maybe we can do this here, where we say, if by the time enter is pressed, if the milestone occupants is greater than 14 by the time enter is pressed, then we would do nothing essentially. Yet if well, shit. Okay, so we're only going to move to movement event 3 if our milestone occupants plus our grid's occupants aren't greater than 14. If we aren't, nothing will happen when enter is pressed. I'm thinking. So let's see if that works. 13 stones. Okay, so look, now if we're trapped, then if we pick up these stones, this is a legal move, true, but it's only true, it would only allow us to be true, it would only stay true if we hit enter and our milestone occupants plus that occupants would be under 14. So I'm hoping that pressing enter in this scenario doesn't advance us to movement event 3. And it does. See, I was thinking that since our milestone... I mean, what if we just say movement event literally gets 2 here? It doesn't do anything, but I would think it would only advance to movement event 3 if our milestone occupants plus our grid occupants wouldn't be greater than 14 because it's in an else here. So if it's greater than 14, don't do anything, only movement event 3 otherwise. That's a little unsettling. But it actually doesn't know. It actually doesn't know which grid occupant we're talking about. Yeah, it doesn't know which grid occupant we're talking about, so it's actually the very first occupant is a 1-1, which didn't have 14 occupants, so it was not greater than 14, therefore it updated us to movement event 3. So do we need to check our mouse? No. Because by the time we lock into movement event 3, it's just pressing enter. So we need to change this line to be only if the surrounding stones from our movement origin grid would be surrounding stones of our movement origin grid. Okay, so instead of cycling through all of these, we're only checking the grids next to us. God damn it. I hate doing this corner case, edge case, middle case stuff over and over and over. Okay. So we're trying to say if our movement origin row is equal to 1 and movement origin column is equal to 1, that's a top left square. If our movement origin row is equal to first row and 5th column, that's a top right. Our movement origin row, bottom left. This is bottom right. That's our corner case. So we need to check, by the time enter is pressed, we need to check all of our surrounding. God damn it, I don't think this solves our problem. Because we're trying to only do a movement event 3. Oh, you know what? This was false up here. Hold on a second. Okay. I'm gonna turn this. Oh, but this was busted. Fuck. Yeah, this is busted because it made all of them false. This is so tough. What's sad is this is the way to do it, the busted way. Like, this is the way to do it where there's still an impossible move that should be legal in the game. It's just the more simple version, and I can't even figure out the simple version. So at this point, our legal moves are true. Even if... Fuck, dude. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. We're trying to say if there's only one legal move. And one legal move not meaning only one grid occupant dot legal move is true, but if actually, yeah, that is what we're trying to do. There's only one legal move, period. Okay, so instead of modifying our legal move to be false, what if we just count how many legal moves? So we cycle through every legal move. We cycle through every grid, and we say if it is a legal move, if it is a legal move, then we're gonna assign something called legal move count, which we don't have yet, to be equal to itself plus 1, basically. But actually, yeah, so since this is only upon one frame of a enter was pressed, then we should be able to say legal move count gets itself plus 1. Now we need to... So once we count how many legal moves there are, we count how many legal moves there are, and if the legal move count is only 1, then we need to see, but then we need to access which legal move. Hold on, because yeah, if there's only one legal move, then we need to force the stones. Yeah, we need to force the stones. We could take that grid I and J. Actually, yeah, if there's only one legal move, we need to then limit if there's only one legal move by the time we count all of our legal moves, then we need to then ask if the mouse stones plus that only legal move. So it's not grid IJ, but it's the only legal move. So we can... Damn, I don't know, dude. I really don't know. This seems ridiculous to me, so that I would have to do this, but I don't know another way. We know that there's only one legal move, so we're just asking every grid, and if it's the grid that is the legal move, it's the legal move grid, of which there should only be one if we're surrounded, then we're going to say see, but this is actually already in a for loop here. I'm stumped, man. Well, we're already in a for loop, so we can just say so the first thing we're doing is count how many legal moves we have. If our legal move count is only equal to 1, then we're going to then cycle through and get the index of which legal move it is, which grid is in fact the legal move. So we're going to say grid I j dot legal move, and we're going to ask if this is the grid that is that legal move. Then we're going to ask whether or not our milestone occupants plus that grid's occupants is greater than 14. And if it is, we want to do nothing, because enter pressing should do nothing at that point. But if it is less than 14, enter is already pressed, so we want to advance our movement state, and okay, yeah, and then what we want to do is set our legal move count equal to 0 at the end of the enter press, so that we can count our legal moves appropriately again on the next frame. I don't like this where like the if statement does nothing and we're only trying to do it if it's not. So maybe if we can say just if milestone occupants plus occupants is not greater than 14, then we do something. And that something is advance our movement event. But if it is greater than 14, nothing will happen, and then our legal move count will get set to 0, and then we'll count our legal moves. I don't know, dude. Because we don't want this legal move count to get incremented to be more than what it is, because we're doing a +1 here. So by the time enter is pressed again, legal move count needs to be 0 again. So that's why we do this. So I'm going to give us this value here at the top. Oopsie. Say legal move count is 0, then legal move count 0 upon a reset too. I've got basically 0 faith that will work. 934. Doesn't like our not equals. Oh, does not, is not greater. How do we say is not greater than? Oh, that's weird. Wait. Greater than, less than, greater than or equal to. So there is a not equal to, but there's no is not greater than. Gotta use the bathroom. I'll be right back. I'm gonna try to figure this out today. I really am. You guys, I am beyond stupid. I am beyond stupid. I got so hung up on checking whether or not this was greater than 14, was not greater than 14. But it's just, if it's smaller than 14, then we can move ahead to a movement event 3. I was very stupid there, but that's okay. Everybody makes mistakes, and I'm sleepy and tired. Let's see. So, what we're trying to do, really, we can't even do this anymore. Moving event 2 is broke now. Yeah, so we're only moving to move event 3 if our legal move count is 1, which is not the case. This is so jacked, guys. This is so jacked. I have no idea what to do now. Okay, we at least fixed it, but we want to say, bro, what are we trying to do here? What are we trying to do here? If enter is pressed, if there's only one legal move around us, then we need to check and limit how many stones are in our hands before we advance to a move in event 3. So let's take a look here. If we lock in, or we pick this up, the legal moves around us is 3, because there's 3 spaces around us that don't have a capstone, a standing stone, or a stack limit of 14. So let's say if we're less than 14, that's when we would go ahead and increase the movement event. But we need to not do this. We need to not become a movement event 3 if we only have one legal move. So like, no. If we only have one legal move, then we have to ask. Yeah, we can't. Right now, pressing enter advances us to move it movement 3. If, see, and this is jacked up because this is asking if our milestone occupants plus any amount of occupants is greater than 14, but we only really care about our legal moves. So we'll ask here if that grid is in fact a legal move. And I think I do want to do something like legal move count, because we need to be able to count our legal moves. Because if we only have one legal move count, then we know we have to limit our stones going into movement event 3. Now, once we're in movement event 3, the amount of stones we have will make it so that another potential legal move would be, how do I even explain it? But let's just try to do our legal move count. So legal move count would get itself +1 if it's a legal move. Then we're going to move on to a move in event 3 if that legal move grid, see, that's, we only want to do this if, oh god, yeah, we want to advance to a move in event 3 if enter is pressed and legal move count is more than 1? No, not necessarily. But we want to move in event 3. God damn it, dude. God damn it. I don't fucking... On most cases, we hit enter, we go into a movement event 3. That's just the truth of it. The only time we don't do that is when we only have one legal move count. So I'm going to say if legal move count is equal to 1, then we ask that question of our mouse stones, and we might go to movement event 3. We might. But if our mouse stone occupants plus our grid occupants, see, this is wrong. We don't care about what. Okay. For the most part, we just go to a movement event 3. The only time we don't go to a movement event 3 okay, and since we limit in our movement event 2, we always have stones in our hand. We can't have no stones in our hand in a movement event 2. I'm pretty sure. So at that point, we would need to. We need to set our legal move count back to 0. At the end of that, enter. But if we only have one legal move count, and here's the shitty part, because we have to have the index of our only legal move and check its occupants. So if our legal move count is 1, then we need to go get that index of whatever it is, or we can save it here. We could say legal move index or whatever, only legal move index. Only legal move row gets I. Only legal move column gets J. So if there's only... See, this isn't right. This isn't right. We have to cycle through them anyway. If legal move count is 1, there's only one legal move. So we need to get the index of that legal move, so we cycle through, and if the grid at that IJ is a legal move, and that would be the only legal move, because it was a legal move count of 1. If it's a legal move, then we need to check something. And if our mouse stones dot occupants plus that grid's legal moves, the only grid's legal moves, IJ occupants, if those two values plus together is less than 14, meaning it would be a legal move, then we're going to go ahead and advance our movie 3. That's not right. Otherwise. Well, you know what? No, this else wouldn't hit. Okay, hold on. So we'd want to do this. We'd want to advance to movement event 3 in this case. Now the only other time we would advance to movement 3 would be if we have more than one legal move count. So we need something like this maybe. And we need legal move count to be 0 still. Not only upon initialization, but upon that reset. So. Okay. We should probably print our legal move count, but that only gets incremented upon enter being pressed, which by then is too late to know, or like the mistake would already be happened at that point. So let me just try it. Okay, 13. Let's get a couple here. So we're surrounded, so by the time we click on this, we should have only one legal move, because if our legal move count is working, the only one is this one. So now I want pressing enter to not get us to legal move 2. So if we look at it, pressing enter here. Okay, so we're right here. We're in movement 2. We're about to press enter. Now if we press enter and our legal move count is 1, which it currently is, we should do nothing, because in our legal move grid, the amount of our occupants plus that grid's occupants would be bigger than 14, not smaller than 14. Therefore, we shouldn't increment our movement 3. So let's see. Pressing enter did not move it to 3, which is good. Now, if we have one less stone, pressing enter should not do it. Now, only if we have one stone in our hand, like right now, should it do it, which it is not doing it. So something in our legal move count might be wrong, because we're never going to move into event 3, and we're never going to move into event 3. So something in our legal move count might be wrong. So let's put on our debug 3 here. We're going to say legal move count. And we're going to put our legal move count. So if this is malfunctioning, this might be the reason why. That's on a debug 3. So debug 3, legal move count 0. So yeah, let's see. That's not what I wanted. Okay. So, legal move count is 0 when it should be 1. Because this is true. If legal move count were 1, maybe it would work. But it is getting set to 0. We are cycling through our grid. Oh, we only do it upon enter press. On an enter press, we do it. But upon an enter press, we would count our legal move. Shit. I really need to get our tester stacks appropriate. It's just, I just should do that because this is ridiculous. To test it each time, I gotta place all these stones in a specific spot. Okay. So, legal move count only gets locked in when we hit enter. So whether or not that's a legal move, it's not getting set. We press enter, and it's not working either. And that's because it only does it. It sets it to 0 at the end there. I don't know, dude. When do we lock in? God damn it. So this is under a mouse button press. So what if we count our legal moves here? Keep that on. Actually, it doesn't do anything. Yeah, we're going to count our legal moves here. Not here upon an enter, but here upon locking in our stones. We count how many legal moves we're at after we've falsified them. Now we shouldn't need to zero our legal move count anymore because it's not happening every frame. Let's see if our legal move count is correct now. Legal move count 1. Cool. So if legal move count 1, pressing enter shouldn't move us to a move event 3, which it does not. Pressing enter should still not do it because 1 plus our only legal move. Our mouse stones plus our only mouse stones occupants plus our only legal move occupants would be more than 14. So even if we had 2 stones, pressing enter wouldn't move us to 3. But if we have 1 stone, it should, and it doesn't. So why does pressing enter our legal move count is 1? Then we're saying, hey, if we have only 1 move count, then if the grid, or by the time we get to the legal move, we're checking the occupants, and if the mouse stone occupants plus that is more than 14, less than 14, then we'd go ahead and go to a movement event 3. So why is that not happening? And if we have more than 1 legal move, we just go ahead and increase our movement event, which seems to have worked leading up to it. Because, for example, once we pick a stone, we've got 4 legal moves because we've got 4 legal moves. So why is this not working? We're not going to move event 3 when enter is pressed in our legal move grid here. I'm going to try something else, and that is going to be to, after we count how many legal moves we are, I'm going to say, actually, yeah, if it's busted, if our logic is busted elsewhere, if I tried the same logic somewhere else, it's probably going to be busted. So I've got to think of something else. For whatever reason, this grid IJ legal move, because if we only have 1 legal move, then by the time we get to this being legal move true, it should be that only legal move. And at that point, we're asking for mouse stone occupants plus that grid's occupants. If it's smaller than 14. Nope. Why wouldn't that have worked? Why wouldn't that have worked? We were right there, man. We were right there. Our legal move count is working. Which means if we only have one legal move count, then by the time we cycle through our grid, anything that is a legal move, which should be the only legal move count, then we have access to that I and J, at which point we're asking the question and modifying the movement event. Now this else is working. The else is working because otherwise we wouldn't be able to get into a movement event 3, which is where we select our first movement grid, which we're able to do. So for some reason, when we hit enter, legal move count does not equal 1. Not necessarily. It's just that it doesn't move to movement event 3, meaning legal move count is 1, but we're not hitting this. We're not hitting this variable. So how about for right now we just say if it's a movement event 1, or if it's a legal move count of 1, if it's a legal move count of 1, and enter is pressed, we go to movement event 3. Let me just see. Test this assumption. Come on, dude. You've got your freaking ends there. Why you hate me? I'm just gonna say this happens if legal move count is 1. Like, does that happen? And if it is, we can debug the next part. Okay, let me just see. So legal move of 1. Legal move of 1. So now if enter is pressed, it should go to movement 3, which it does. Yet this would be illegal. So so this line is working here. So how come if the grid at IJ is a legal move, then if our mouse stone occupants should be locked in at this point, plus this. So if we've got 13 and we've only got 1, 13 plus 1, we need this. They're less than or equal to 14 because 14 is available. Let's try that. So I'm trying to get 13 here, one shy of our limit. Then I'm trying to get more, you know, like a 5 stack or something here. And then we're trying to limit our moves to only one legal move, which at this point in time is a legal move count of 1 right here. So now pressing enter should do nothing. It shouldn't move us to movement event 3, which it does not. Now, it should only advance us to movement event 3 if the amount of stones in our hand plus our only legal move option wouldn't be more than 14, which 2 would be more than 14, but we only have 1. Hitting enter puts us to movement event 3, which allows us to select our only legal move with the only legal amount of mouse stones in our hand for us to place and then lock in. And then we have a max stack there. So now if we're in stack control, right? So like we can't select this because there is no legal move there. There is no legal move there. Even though we got stack control, this would be an illegal move, this would be a legal move, this would be a legal move. And this would be a legal move because we're at our limit there. So it looks like we finally got it to be working because of the less than or equal to there. Now I'm not so relieved. Let me test one thing. I'm not so relieved because there could be another hidden bug we didn't think about or whatever, so I'm kind of just like not so stoked about it. But let's see if we want to see if we fixed our problem from when we first started the episode. We said because we used to be checking the highest surrounding occupant. So I'm gonna put a bunch of stones here. Okay. And then I think I want to lock in a stone. Now, we want to be able to Okay, I know what I want to check. I want to put a bunch of stones here. And then some more stones here. And then check that. So now we used to be able to, at this point, before today's work, we would only pick up 1 stone because our highest surrounding occupant is a 13 at the moment, so that it would only ensure that gets placed. But now, since we have more than 1 legal move, we have a legal move count of 2. So now, if we were to lock in 1 stone, we could move in this space or this space. But if we have 2 stones or more, by the time we lock it in, we can't move in this space, but it is still saying we can. So we need to fix that. That's what I wanted to test. So at this point, once we get to a movement event 3, we need to go through and falsify any stones that mouse events wouldn't, how do I say this? Movement event 3, by the time we lock it in, if we have more than 1 legal move, by the time we lock it in, we need to falsify any grid that would be illegal to move in, because if we select it and dump more than 1, we crash. So right here, yeah, if legal move count is not 1, by the time enter is pressed in a move in event 2, we need to falsify the legal move that would have an illegal amount of stones if we were to dump it. So how do we do that? We would say legal move count. Yeah, we need to check each of our legal moves and falsify it as a legal move if our mouse stones plus that grid's occupants would be greater than 14. So let's go ahead and try to do that. So we're going to cycle through all of our legal moves. And we just need to falsify any of those legal moves. Yeah, if it's a legal move, then we need to check its occupants. And we would say if our mouse stones occupants plus that legal move grid's occupants would be greater than 14, then we need to falsify it, which should fix that bug. Yep. Okay. Okay. Let's give it a shot. So we're trying to put 13 stones here. 13, and then we need a bunch of stones. And we need another bunch of stones, I guess. Okay. Now, I don't think we need to be surrounded. We don't need to be surrounded. It's just that... Oh gosh, I just locked it in. Oh, but it worked. See, so like I locked in the stones. I locked in more than 5 stones, which means the only legal move would be not the stone legal move. That used to be legal move, but that would be more than 14 stones. So I think it worked. I think it worked. The only thing I want to try now is one more thing, which is if we have a 13 stack here, and then we've got a bunch of stones. Here. This is the last thing I want to check, which is we just checked that if we lock in this many stones, this one is no longer a legal move, even though it's a legal move right now, because it technically could be an illegal move. It could be an legal move, a legal move. So if we lock it in right now, this would be the only legal move. But if we lock in only one stone, I want to see if both are true, which they are. And then now that there's 14 in that stack, this is a legal move, but let's see. We click on it. If we lock in this amount of stones, our only legal move should be over here. So let's try that. No, legal move, legal move. So we're able to do that. Okay. Okay. I'm fairly happy with that working. Fairly confident in saying that's working okay. I'm a little less confident if there's more than a couple 8 stacks, but I don't think that's very likely because we only have 12 stones left. And I doubt all the stones are going to be in 4 stacks, you know. I don't think in a realistic game that would come to, but we'll have to do some testing. I can get rid of this. Okay. So let's take a look at our git diff here. We gave ourselves a variable called legal move count. We actually need to take out this highest surrounding occupants because we're not using that anymore. So we can go ahead, take that out of the debugging. That function isn't good to us anymore because that's what we were using for determining how many stones to pick up, which we are doing now by determining legal moves. So we just don't need this anymore. And we don't need the function. Do another git diff here. Okay, we give ourselves a legal move count variable. We reverted our stones to copy back to its original so that we don't only pick up one stone if we're surrounded. Now we added this whole new thing. We moved our legal move logic from movement event 3 into 2 so that we had access to grids that are legal in our movement event 2, which was necessary here for when we are asking if it's a legal move, and then we're asking whether or not our occupants plus the only legal move grid occupants would be 14. So right here, when we ask if this legal move count is 1, that's when we're assuring that we don't move to movement event 3 unless the amount of stones in our hand plus the amount of grid in our only legal move would be less than 14. That's the only time we would be moving to a movement event 3. Otherwise, we don't actually come out of movement event 3. Wait a second. Oh yeah, if we have more than one legal move, we just go to movement event 3 because we can move in multiple spots. So it doesn't really matter if one grid is locked because you can move to the other grid. But we do have to falsify the grid that we can't move into. So if it is a legal move, we're checking whether or not it would be falsified based on the amount of stones in our hand. So when are we pressing enter and not going to move an event 3? And the answer is if we have one legal move and we press enter. This is in our enter press logic. So the only time, like there is a time where we press enter and we don't go to a move event 3, which didn't exist before this update. Now, if we press enter and we only have one legal move count, and if that legal move count is greater than 14, it would be an else here where we would do nothing, but we only do something in that case. We only do something if we're equal to 14 or under 14. That's the only time we would go to move event 3. Yeah. This was very hard. So yeah, we took out our legal move falsifying from our, let me see, 3, flush legal move if space. Let me see if we still have this. Yeah, we have this now in our movement event 2, which used to be in our movement event 3, so we moved that. Maybe it's in our movement event 1. Shit. Yeah, movement event 1 it is now. There could be bugs in here. I didn't thoroughly test it, but in testing the cases, we did have to move a bunch of stones, and it all seemed to be working okay. So now that we got that hard shit out of the way, we can get to thoroughly trying to debug and trying to hunt down any possible cases that could crash the game. But that was the biggest one. That was the biggest one that I know of. Now it's just extra credit if we can figure out how to, if by the time we're locking in our stones, like if we pick up 5 stones, there is a chance that we could dump a stone on top of a 13 stack, and that's only possible if the move, if the grid after that locked in direction has an equivalent amount of spaces free, and that player places those stones. That's a tough one, but that's the only other case that would give away the fact that we're kind of limited to that 14 stack. Like it would be a legal move, still following all of our rules, so we should have it in the game. It's just complicated, so that's why it's not in there right now. So if we want extra credit, we can really scratch our heads over that. I think that's going to be tougher than what we did today. So, but we'll see. We'll see if we can figure it out. I'm going to add everything to the staging area and commit with a message saying we allowed what we did was crazy. Like how would you describe what we did? We now limit the stones that can be placed on a big stack without limiting orthogonal movements. which with our old update, we were limiting our other movements based on our highest occupant stack, which wasn't quite right. Push that bad boy. All right. That was a brutal episode, but I'm proud of that update. And dude, we're coming up on the end. We're coming up on the end of this game, which is really exciting. Then we'll get back to Joust after that, which is nice. I'm just noticing there's some weird ends here. See this end and this end? Why is that a thing? This end is for this, if it's a legal move. Sure. What is this end for and this end for? If button is 1. I don't know why it's not yelling at us for that weird end. Yeah, see, look at that weird end. That breaks it. That breaks it. I don't know. Right here, we're missing one. Which means we can get rid of this one, then we're good. Okay. I won't commit that because it's unnecessary, but that'll be our next commit. Okay, cool. I'll see you guys tomorrow and we'll do something else. Actually, I was wanting to if you guys don't know, my favorite programmer who inspired me to program and learn programming is Jonathan Blow. And he... this is not him either. I don't know what his Twitter name is. Someone, you know, his new programming language is in beta right now. I've been wanting to try to learn it because I really like Jonathan Blow and I want to do his programming language. And someone just posted a game in his new language for the first time ever yesterday, and I played it and really liked it. And they just put their GitHub source code of that new programming language online here, Jonathan_Blow. So here. So maybe tomorrow I might take a little break and kind of look through some Jai code, but maybe I'll just do it off stream. I don't, you know. I just want to study this and get good at it. But I'm really excited that this is, you know, we could take a look at all the .jai code, which is really cool. So this is the new programming language I want to learn. It's not out yet, but this is the first time I'm getting my hands on the actual code, so I'm really excited. I'm gonna clone this repo real quick. We can do this. If you guys don't know how to do this, you just go to a directory and you say git clone. Actually, I'm gonna make a directory to put it in. And then git clone the repo. Now we can cd into it, list its cd into, we were into it, cd sokoban ls cd sokoban ls. That's really cool. That's really cool. We just cloned into this guy's Jai repo, which is super cool. We can this is cool. What would be a cool series is if we go through every commit of this and look at the development progress of this game. If we had Jai and we could compile Jai, that would be a really cool series. Because right now we can't run the unfinished game because we were only able to run the executable that the guy posted because we don't have access to Jai or the Jai compiler yet. It's still in beta. But that would be really cool. Wow. 47 commits to make his game. I'm already at maybe 40 or something for attack, probably more than that actually. But yeah, I've got that now, which is really cool. Really excited to get my hands on that. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for some more programming. Hopefully it won't be as hair pulling as today, and hopefully I'll have more energy tomorrow.